Hello friends, recently I have created one array cheat sheet where I have explained about different array function with some example. Today I'll briefly talk about individual array function and we'll try to run some example as well. So let's start with the first block of function. Now we'll discuss about concat, join, slice, indexOf and lastIndexOf. So the first function will concatenate between two or multiple arrays. For example, this is a source array and this is a target array. So we can concatenate between the array, then it will create another array ABC. Remember, the original array won't get modified. And also we can pass another array by using comma separated, like comma D, then ABCD will be created. And we can convert this array to a string. And we can provide a join by using join. Inside the join, we can give a delimiter. This delimiter may be space, comma, semicolon, or in this case tilde. Because A tilde B, this is the output. And this slice is a bit interesting concept. I'll create a very detailed, guide, a detailed tutorial for explaining in detail. But basically, slice will divide this array into multiple parts. For example, we have a source array ABC. Here we are passing 1, means 0, 1. This is the index 1. So from starting from 1, this will slice this array into multiple parts. And the output array will only contain B and C from the element, from the index we have provided. And the fourth function is the indexOf. IndexOf is very commonly used. This will give an indication that whether an item is present or not. Recently we can use includes, but this indexOf has a wide browser support. So whichever the element inside this array, if you pass, so which will return the index of that element. For example, B is present twice over here. But remember, this output would be the first index it found in first. So A would be 0, B is 1, and this would be 2. So it will return only 1, There is a similar function, lastIndexOf. As I said, B can present multiple times. So if you want to return the last occurrence of the B, then we can use this function, lastIndexOf B. So it will return 2 in this case. So now let's quickly see that example in action with running some program. So here, this is the same example, AB, but here, as I say, we can concatenate C and D, multiple, then ABCD will happen. So we can concatenate other entries as well. This is very flexible. So not only the two entries, two array we can concatenate like A, B and C, but we can concatenate multiple entries. Okay, this is very powerful concept. Now in case of join, so here you can see AB array, we are joining with the tilde symbol. So in case of tilde, we can give space. So it would be A space B. We can give 2 space, then it would be 2 space. So if you have another element C, like A, B, C, So this join is very powerful and most commonly used as well. Now let's see slice. So A, B, C, we given the slice 1, from this one index it is slicing. If you give like 0, from beginning it will be, returning. If you give 0, 1, 2, then only C element will be returned. If you give 3, nothing will return, most probably. No, empty array, okay? So I hope you got an idea about the slice. Now let's see about the indexOf. Now here B array we have, index of B is 1, But if you try to return something non-existent, Z, then it would be -1. So you can compare like D in a if condition. If D equal to -1, then it means that element is not found. If it contains some value, then that means that element is present. And lastIndexOf is not very commonly used, but just for sake of completion, I've given it. So for example here, lastIndexOf is B is 2, not 1, okay? So now let's see the next box, which is the function it brings. It started introducing us to the functional style of that array function. For example, here we will discuss about forEach, every, sum, and filter. This forEach is a kind of iteration. Most probably, whenever we deals with array, we are more comfortable with the traditional for loop, like int I and I++ and whatnot. Or also we can use for in array. But this is a functional style of array function, and this function is directly embedded or available inside the array. That is the reason we are accessing using dot operation. And this is perfectly a functional style, and many people prefer this kind of style as well. And inside that, it is a callback function. Okay, this is a function, and we are using a arrow syntax function, arrow function, which is a little bit more precise and concise syntax. So this X stands for each and every element. So this particular function will execute it 3 times. One for A, one for B, another time for C. So if you try to do console.log, this A, B, C will be printed. And we can do definitely any kind of operation based upon the input item. We can call an API or doing some multiplication operation or any kind of calculation we can do based upon that each individual elements. Okay? And this every and sum are a little bit confusing just to understand. Not very commonly used, I would say, but better having clear understanding will definitely help. Every means inside that we can also pass a callback function, right? And we provide a condition as well here. Every means whatever the condition we provided, each and every element must satisfy that condition. If one of them failed to satisfy the condition, then it will return false. So remember, every means each and every element must satisfy the condition. So here it will execute it for each and everything. X will contain this value 1. 1 is less than 10. Yes, of course. 2 is less than 10. Yes, indeed. 3, yes. So all 3 values satisfy this condition. For this sake of example, I put a very simple condition, but you can think about any kind of wild scenarios. So if every condition is satisfied, then it is true. And sum means at least one. No, if none of the conditions satisfied, definitely it will return false. But let's say some condition satisfied, let's say one condition also satisfied, then it will return true. For example, same way we can pass a callback function. Here we are using a interesting arrow function syntax. So it will also execute it 3 times. Then 1 less than 2, yes it is. 2, no, 2 is not less than 2. 3, no, 3 is not less than 2. So only one condition made. But still this particular function will return a boolean true. Okay, I'm just talking about returning means enter. If you store into a variable, then the variable will be true or false. Then you can put into a if condition, and whatever you want to do with that variable, you can do that, right? And this is a very interesting function, right? Filter. So let's say you make an API call and you get a bunch of records, and you all want to filter based upon certain criteria. So this filter condition is very useful. So this simple example, we pass an array which contains 3 elements, and here also we are passing a condition same as every and sum. And this condition, whichever the element met the condition, and that element will be stored as an element into the output array. For example, 1 is 1 less than 2, yes. So that would be piled up inside an array. So this won't return true or false. And this won't return a single value, not a number or a string. It will return an array. And the value of array will contain whichever the condition satisfies as true. So it will compare not the entire array, it won't compare, but one by one element it will compare. Like 1 is less than 2, yes. So 1 will be stored into the output array. 2, no. So it discard it. I don't want to store that. 3, no. I want to store it again. So now let's quickly see that in example in action. Okay. Now let me zoom this. Now let's see the code in action. So the first we have an array, and this forEach is important to note is the function inside this array. You know, it is not something outside. We are outside iterator. This is known as inside iterator or internal iterator. So here we pass as a func element, and console.log individual element will be printed A, B, C, right? So we can just do any operation here, like hello. So a hello or something like that, or we can do just two. Sorry, uppercase. So basic idea is that once we get the element, we can do any sort of operation, and this won't create another array as such. Okay, so this will give an opportunity to do our own logic. We can do call API, we can do any calculation or whatever we like to do, we can do with that elements of that array. And now this every, so we pass 3 element. Oh, sorry, this is a little bit irritating. So we pass 3 element, with every we pass a callback function. So x less than 10. So all the 3 elements are less than 10. So it return true. For example, if you try to make it is less than 2, only first element is less than 2. So it is returning false because not all the elements are less than 2. Like if you do 3, is still false because 1 and 2 are less than 3, but 3 itself is not. So if you do equal to, so it will return true. Okay, every means every element should meet that condition. Like this sum is really cool. Like if one of the condition is also satisfied, for example 1 is less than 2, then it return true. Like if you want to do none of the condition match, 1 is itself not less than 1, 0 is less than 1. So none of this condition met this, none of this element met this condition, so it will return false. Okay, so if you try to give 5, so all the element is meeting the condition, so it is definitely a true, all is fine, at least one should be met the condition. Okay, so filter, so we can provide some kind of condition, true or false, like based upon, so x1 is only less than 2, that's why this output array is contain only 1. So if we give, let's say 3, so 1 and 2 match that condition, then it's 1 and 2. Let's say if you equal to 3, so only the third element matches the condition, right? So whichever the condition we can provide over here, whichever the element satisfies the condition, that would be present in the output array. But if you notice, there is an array. If you notice those 2 elements, it is Boolean. And this is not returning anything. If inside that we are printing the console.log. Okay. Now let's see that third box of our cheat sheet. Here we'll discuss about map, reduce, sort, reverse, and length. Length is very nice, easy. But let's start with the map. This map, if you know about this map, reduce, and function, then you will looks like a pro, pro functional programming. So many people try to use it. I'll create some dedicated tutorial like to explain into deep dive and why it is useful, why this functional style most of the people are preferring nowadays. But that is for another session. But today we'll just talk about briefly what it's all about, So map is feel something similar to an forEach, So you pass, but it will result to an array, It will create an array. So this is the source array, and these are the functional style function are very pure function. They won't mutate or change that original array. They'll always create a new array. So there is no side effect. That is one of the most important reason why this map and reduce are very popular. So if you pass 1, 2, 3, this is the source array. So this callback, always a callback function, and arrow syntax is really nice. So this we are passing a arrow function. This is a function. Okay, you can write a very complicated function over here. But individual element will be passed 1, 2, 3, one by one, and there is any operation or any kind of logic we can implement for the simple argument sake or example purpose, I have multiplied by 2. So x2, so each and element, individual element will be multiplied by 2 and resulting array will contain 2, 4, 6. But one point to note over here is that if you pass a 3 element here, the output will always contain 3 element. But in case of filter, the output can contain 0, 1 or 2 or 3 element. In case of filter, the output is itself an array, but the number of element is not matching with the input number of element. But in case of map, the length of input array and the length of output array exactly match, same. And only inside this function we can do any calculation, so which will be applicable to each and every element. Got it? So definitely we can put some if-else condition just to, we want to multiply by 2 if x is equal to 2, that kind of thing you can do definitely, but output will be contain the same number of element, you can't skip it. Reduce is really complicated for beginner level, and why it is effectively using it, it will take some time. But this you can pass an array, but the output is a scalar or a single value output, right? It contains like one value, 6. So what it will do, reduce means here we can pass a callback function, but like earlier we have seen only it will take one argument like x. But here there are two arguments, it would be x, y, x, y. There are two arguments. So the two argument what it is talking about, one is previous value, one is current value. And after this we can specify initialization value also, but that it will complicate the matter here. So that I'll create a very dedicated tutorial later. But just for this simple example, think this is a previous value, this is a current value. In case of absence of initial value, this x will be assigned as 1, okay, and y will be assigned as 2. And then for the first iteration, x multiplied by y, how much it is? 1 multiplied by 2, then it will be 2, right? And the 2 will magically be stored into x. So x is not going to look into the array anymore. So it will contain the resultant. If it is undefined, then x will also undefined. If it is something, then the something value will be stored into this previous value x. So first iteration it will be 1, y it will be 2, but the next iteration x multiplied by y, 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2, x store 2, okay, then y will contain the next value because 1 to already taken care of in the first iteration as well. Then y will contain the 3, then x will contain this 2, then y will be 3, then x multiplied by y, 2 multiplied by 3 is equal to 6. I know it's a bit confusing, but I created a nice notes here just to explain about in a table and detail structure, so that will make more sense. But I don't want to complicate this tutorial here, but hope you got a little bit feeling. Okay, now let's move to the next function. Now sorting is amazing. You pass 2, 15, 3, you sort it, and what is this output? 15, what the hell about it? 15 to 3. So 15, how on earth can come as beginning? That's the magic of JavaScript, you know. So ideally, JavaScript by default cannot sort a number. If you pass an array with a number and try to sort it, you will get an invalid result, you know, because sorting will work as a string. So it will try to think that 1, 5 is, it will try to convert and do some kind of magic, and it will see this first index itself, but it is not reliable. So to sort a number, you have to pass a compare function over here, and you have to do some extra manipulation. But basically, if you try to pass any alphabets, ABC, or your different orientation, then it will sort properly, okay? But don't sort the numbers using this default sort function. You can sort any text. But definitely number sorting is possible by using the sort, but you have to write some different code here. I can quickly show it to you. And next would be reverse, which is very straightforward. 1, 2, 3 you pass, you will get a resultant array 3 to 1. 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1. Very simple. Length is kind of everywhere. If you are using array, you're definitely going to use length. And One important thing to note over here is that in many programming languages, length or size is a function itself. So you have to give a bracket syntax, but here length is just a property. Because in JavaScript, array is itself a object. It is a special kind of object, right? And object contain properties. And this array also contain properties. Length is one of the properties. So it is not a function, 3. So now let's execute this thing, how it looks like. Now let's zoom it a little bit down so that our note will look better. Now let's dive into the code. The same example what we discussed just now. We pass 1, 2, 3 as a source array. In the map function, this is a callback function, and each element will be multiplied by 2. 2, 4, 6. If you multiply it by 5, so 5, 10, 15. So any operation we can perform, which will be applicable to each and every element, and it will create a resultant array. Okay. Now we'll discuss about reduce. Like here we are passing this 1, 2, 3 as I said previous, and the current element, which will multiply by xy, like 1, 2. Then x will contain 2, then 2 multiplied by 3, it would be 6. Now let's try to do plus over here. Oh, plus also 6. I think we'll change this element a little bit. 2, 3, 4. This is 9. So how it will behave? 2 and 3 will be passed initial start. The 2 plus 3 will be 5. Then 5 will go to x, and it will be plus addition with 4. 5 plus 4 would be 9. Right? If you try to do multiplied here, let's see my math is strong or not. Like x and y, 2 multiplied by 3, 6. Then 6 will be go and store into x, and y contain 4. 6 multiplied by 4 equal to 24. So if you have a lots of number, you should be good at mathematics. So calculate and enjoy. And like here, the sorting, as I said, 2, 15, 3, this always mesmerizing me. Like 15 is coming and above 2 and 3. But if you try to sort a, C, D, A, ACD. So it's sorting properly a number of strings. So there is a shortcut way to do that sorting. Here you can pass a quick AB to number, a callback function. This would be two number at a sort, it will be passed, like 2 will be assigned to A, 15 will be assigned to B. Here we can write the compare function logic. So this would be true or false. So 2 minus 5. So if you see this 2, 3, 15 sorting is happening, if you want to reverse this order, B minus A, it will reverse the order. So this way you can pass a compare function. I'll go more, I won't try to explain everything, how it works, why it works. It will little bit complicate the thing. But I'll cover into a detailed section like explaining into why this sorting function you can write effectively. And this reverse is quite easy. 1, 2, 3 you pass, and it would be passed as 3, 2, 1. And this length, as usual, is my favorite, like is 3. If you pass 4, length is 4. If you try to call as a function, it should throw an error. Yeah, length is not a function, it's a property. Okay. Now we'll discuss about the fourth box, like array shift, unshift, pop and push. These functions are available since ages, and having a better understanding will definitely help you to play around with array is much more better. So I've created another nodes which will be much more useful than this cheat sheet. Let me show you to you real quick. Yeah, this is the place. So let me discuss slowly how this all operation will work. Hope it will be easier after that. We have our original array A, B, C. Okay, and these are the very destructive operation. They will try to modify this original array. So be careful before using it. Okay. So they will manipulate, not like functional programming where it will output a new array, but it will try to change this original array itself. So if you do ABC, so if you do a shift operation into ABC, like A will be removed from that original array, this A. Then the output array would be, the resulting array would be B and C. Okay. If you do shift, the A will be removed. A is in the first element from this array at the 0 index. If you do the pop operation, it will do exactly the same as shift. It will remove an element, but not from the beginning, but from the end. The C will be removed. The resultant array would be A and B. Okay. Shift would be first element, it will be removed. Pop, the last element will be removed. And now let's describe the push and unshift. Like if you give a original array and call this push function and pass a D, so any element, then D will be added at the end. So D would be added into the original array at the end. If you see here D, right? Unshift also will add the element, but not at the end, but rather it will be add the element at the first position of this array, like Z, A, B, C. Okay, hope you understand. Let's see that example in action. Now let's see some code in action. Like we have an array. Now we will do the shift operation. As I say shift, what it will do? It will remove that element from the beginning. Okay. Now let's see print to array. So 2, 3 will be printed. So the first element will be removed, shift, right? And if you try to, and if you notice, like original array is modified. It is not creating a modified array here, like filter and any other such method, like X. If you print X, whichever the element is removed, for example, the first element is removed, that would be, display over here. If the first element is like 99, then this X will contain this 99. Okay. Now shift operation, hope you understood. Like now integer shift, let's say post element, no, not post, pop. So if you do pop element, like the last element would be removed. So if you see array, so it will contain 99, 2, and the third would be removed. So if you try to print X, then this 3 will be printed. So shift, the first one would be removed, and the pop, the last one would be removed. And this, if you store into a variable, the entry which is got removed will be stored, but it is not a modified array. The modified array you can see by looking into the original array only. Okay. Like for example, unshift looks like a delete operation, but rather it will add an element 9. So where it will add 9 at the beginning before 99. Okay. So if you try to see array, 9 added at the beginning, right? If you see that X, I don't think it is just a X this time won't say it would be 9. Okay. Array X will return this time the array length. Like how many array length would be, after you added the element, how many array length? If you, let's say for example, if you 5, already 4 element is there, you added one more element, so X will contain this, 5. The array length it will be contained. So it is a bit confusing, but remember this is not the element you added. It won't return the 9 or 10. It will be the array length. So similarly, pose, let me delete it. So pose, what it will do, it will also add element, but at the end, let's say give 50 just for differentiating it. Array, so 50 will be added. So if you print x, what it will print? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the array length 5 should be printed here, like 5. Okay. So hope you understood. Let's now dive into other thing, the final operation. Now we'll discuss about the final method, like splice. Today I won't do justice to this splice method because this is very complicated and it needs a dedicated discussion for itself, but still I'll try to cover it. This is like original array. The splice also, we will split this array into the multiple and do some sophisticated operation, for example adding any entry as well, and it is a mutable, or it will create another array. At the same time it will change this original array as well. Okay, like see, for example array we pass like 1 to 2 element. So 1 is 0 1 from B to 2 like C, B is C. It will extract and put it into the modified array. At the same position it will try to replace with another element like Z. So the array would be A, Z, D, and modified array would be B, C. It will be extracted. Let's see some example in action, then try to explain to a little bit better. See, for example, here we have an array like A, B, C, D. Instead of Z, we'll just try to slowly we'll do splice, array splice A 1 and 2, 0, 1, B, and 2 means C. This two element we're trying to splice it. Splice it means we want to remove it. So this array should contain A and D, and B and C should be stored into mod. Let's see that how it is behaving. Array AD. So from 1, 2 we spliced it, we removed it from that original array. So now original array will contain A and D. Now the modified element will contain B and C. Right, B and C. At the same time we can pass some additional argument saying that instead of B and C, what do we want? Like high. So instead of that, after the splicing that, we are getting this high would be inserted into that position. Okay, so I'll create different options like negative index, and multiple element we can splice it or not, or I'll discuss more into future session, dedicated splice, but this video I want to keep it concise and summary. So hope you learned something today. This is the array cheat sheet. I will share it in some Twitter or some other place so that you can have access to it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.